Catherine Delahunt.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Apologies to my colleague. Tēnā koutou te wharenui. As the previous speaker said, it's a good day for this kōrero. Especially we woke up this morning to the debate over he wakaputanga me te tiriti o Waitangi and where they should be and where they should sit, and that's what this is about. This is about honouring and treasuring Waitangi as a sacred space, not only for tangata whenua, but for tangata tiriti as well. Because for us, of the Pākehā culture, without Waitangi, we're here with no honour. We're here with no actual foundation. We're here as colonisers and invaders rather than as partners in a relationship. So this site could not be more important to us. It is vital for us, even though whakapapa obviously gives the people of the North, and I really want to acknowledge my colleagues here in the House from the North, from Te Tai Tokerau, not only for their commitment to Waitangi National Trust, but to their understanding of the complexities and history of looking after that place on behalf of the nation through their whakapapa. So it's great to have a chance to speak about this. I sat on the Select Committee briefly, and one of the days when we were having a lively debate about representation, and I was very privileged to hear that debate. I myself, unlike Penny Henare, have only been to Waitangi for the last 15 years, every day, every Waitangi day, and so I'm a new person. But each time that I go, I learn something powerful about what that space and place is in the history of this nation, and that it's a place both of challenge and a place of coming together and acknowledging one another. So these legislation like this is very important, and in some ways I feel ill-equipped to talk about some of the detail of the length of time for which people should be able to be on the board, let alone who should represent who. But there are issues I'm passionate about which we were debated at the Select Committee, and which I'd like to, in a way that is possibly more superficial than you've heard, stand up for. And that was Arapeta Hamilton's submission about fair representation. Because in many ways that discussion symbolised Te Treaty itself, because we had a situation where the Pākehā families all had a representative each, but the mana whenua families did not. And to me that was a little like the ongoing struggle we have under Te Treaty to actually create a fair, honest and just solution to our history. And in order to do that, we have to keep refining our ideas of what democracy and also rangatiratanga actually mean. And sometimes there's a tension between the two, and I think it's really good to acknowledge that in the concept of a board or a concept of representation, we don't always acknowledge that there are issues of mana and issues of whakapapa and tikanga that operate within their own context and may want to be strongly influencing the structure of the board, as well as the traditional Pākehā mechanisms of who voted for who and who represents who. But I think that this bill came to a good place through the hard work of the Select Committee, and people came to a good agreement around the submission of Arapeta Hamilton and around some of these other issues of representation. And I'm not sure myself whether the changes are lessening the mana and power of the Waitangi National Trust or not. But what I am sure about is that we need the continued commitment to reviewing this issue, the issues associated with Waitangi itself, so that we continue to improve and get right the nature of the relationship that we signed up to in 1840. And so it was good to be at the Select Committee when the Minister came and spoke of her commitment to the review, which is excellent, because I'm one of those people that believes Te Treaty never finishes. It's not a matter of full and final settlement. And just like Te Treaty not finishing, improving and polishing and enhancing a bill like this and the way in which the National Trust is managed, this taonga is managed, is an ongoing process. And so this may not be the end, but it is important to acknowledge both the mana of the history of the National Trust, but also what will it look like in the future. And it was interesting to hear Reno Tinakatani talk about gender balance. It's obviously one thing that the Greens are quite interested in, but again, that kōrero needs to come into a context, and I'm sure the people of the North are the people who can lead on that context and on that issue as well. Certainly there are many people in the north who could. Thank you, Mr Chair.
I call the Honourable